Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 14. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how we doing?
Joe, we're doing quite well. And as we start the episode 14 here for you, I want to applaud you on your incredible effort this past weekend, juggling the several assignments on the pitch.
Thanks, man.
While also complete coverage of the most exciting high school football game of the weekend between Delaware Valley and Abington Heights, Joe, with outstanding footage from every venue. Fantastic work.
Thanks, Joby. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a fun one. It was a lot of work. You know, you did a lot of great work yourself.
No, Joe. Every so often, listen, people don't understand that it is not easy, and we say that a little bit between the two of us during the course of a week,
right,
to do the job the way we want to do it. And your efforts this weekend really were outstanding. And I also want to make sure we credit our colleague Tom Fox, who also did some double duty on the weekend as well. You guys are logging a lot of hours and a lot of time out there for the live coverage, and I just want to tell you that I certainly appreciate it.
Thanks, Joby. I appreciate that. Yeah, Tom Fox hitting up two sites on Saturday. So, yeah, big weekend, and we are actually joined by an athlete who made the weekend worthwhile. We are joined, as always, by our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week. This week it is Nico Bustos of Abington Heights Soccer. Nico, how we doing, man?
I'm doing good right now. How are you?
Good. First of all, thanks for joining us. And just to let people know what Nico did last week, in the quarterfinals on Saturday, he scored the game-winning goal in overtime to send Abington Heights to the PIAA Class 3A state semifinals with a 1-0 win over District 11 champ Blue Mountain. He also added a goal earlier in the week in the first round of states to help Abington Heights capture its first state playoff win in 21 years. Nico, we had talked about it. I've interviewed you, but it's a couple days away. Maybe just look back one more time. Game on the line. Any score wins it for either side. The golden goal. You're able to get that goal and celebrate. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was an incredible moment. I've said this before, like every player dreams of scoring that last minute winner, and especially with the golden goal, last goal wins, even more pressure. Professionals, they play over when they go to extra time. It's not golden goal, but here in high school, it's just last goal wins, puts even more pressure on. The stakes are even higher, and everybody just dreams of scoring that goal, running to the corner, to the sideline, celebrating with all your teammates, just with like pure joy and relief is another feeling that you feel.
Yeah, Nico, I was going to touch on that a little bit because soccer is a little bit different than the sports that I normally cover. And I can't even imagine what that must be like for you both mentally and physically as you're battling a team in the state playoffs and neither team is able to kind of get on the scoreboard. Kind of go through that with us on how you kind of maintain your focus and your poise, and you keep battling no matter what, even though you can't get a goal during regulation.
Yeah, I've played my whole life. I've played at a very high level. I've played club, high school. I've been in finals, semifinals, quarterfinals, you name it. It's just time after time learning from better players, older players, my family that's played, just how to stay focused throughout the game, if you're losing, winning, if it's tied, if it's the beginning of the game, end of the game, just maintaining that, the same focus, the same drive, same mentality that you have throughout the whole game. And that's what makes the difference between a lot of the teams, especially at the level of like a state quarterfinal, where both of the teams are very strong in their own ways and they have their weaknesses and strong points. And it just comes down sometimes to mentality, who wants it more and who can convert at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Nico and, Joby, that this is my first year actually covering the soccer beat. And, this was, like I said, I haven't been at a ton of high school games, but this atmosphere was absolutely electric. You have great fans, Nico. I've seen it all year, and the atmosphere was just crazy. What has this community been like every step of the way and in that game on Saturday?
It's amazing. At the game, we had people that are not even related to anybody on the soccer team come out to just support us, to watch the team, celebrate with us. Throughout the season, the young players, the young Abington Soccer Club players have been coming to all the games. They've been wanting autographs, high fives, pictures after every game, before every game. They look up to us, and everybody in the community, all the old and young, we've part of the reason that we're doing what we're doing now is to not only go all the way and complete what we want to in a soccer sense, but to also just grow soccer in the community, bring everybody closer together. I was looking at the stands during the games. There were hundreds of people. It just felt all really connected. Everybody I've watched it back countless times already, and just hearing all the noise after the goal, it just felt amazing. Yeah.
So, Nico, listen, let's kind of dial it back a little bit to where you were last year at this time. From what I understand and reading some of Joe's coverage here, you had a disappointing end to last season. So in talking with a lot of athletes, that is wonderful motivation for someone who's, had such high expectations and sometimes you fall a little bit short. Tell me how this team kind of gathered itself together during the off season and got yourselves prepared for what you've been able to achieve so far this season.
Yeah. So as soon as the season ended last year, we had our team meetings with our coach Diska, and we all talked about how, it ended on a bad note, and we all knew that we would come back this year, and with a even greater drive now that we have the motivation after the final last year. We're not perfect. We can't do the 4-peat district. So it's like, even this season we had a loss against Lewisburg. It's nobody's perfect, but we still drive for that perfection. We drive for the perfect season, even if there's some drawbacks or obstacles in the way. So throughout the whole off season, we've all been working. We've all been practicing with our club teams, practicing with each other, talking about it. Off season, in the season, we went into with the same mentality. Played Dallas in one of our non-conference games, won 6-2, but we went into the district final with the same mentality, same exact, just we kept looking back at that final from last year. Some of us even watched it on film again, watched our setback, all the tears, and we used that as more motivation to put 5 against them.
Absolutely. And your team is great from top to bottom. Is there a teammate or, a few teammates that have impressed you the most this season?
If I'm going to be honest, I don't want to sound too cliche, but I think it's been everybody this season. Started from, just the captains, me and Enzo Capozzi. Then it branched out to, our older players, our seniors, James, Tanner, all the seniors. And it starts to go down the team to the juniors, sophomores, and then freshmen to have the same mentality now. The freshmen weren't with us last season, but they were there to watch the Dallas game. Everybody has the same mentality. Everybody's been working so hard, and looking back, over the past week, I've been looking back at the beginning of the season and just everything we've improved on, technically, tactically, physically, mentally. It's all just been a great experience and a great team to be a part of.
So, Nico, you're district champs again, and then you get into the state playoffs. And as Joe pointed out in his opening there, you won a state playoff game for the first time for the program anyway in 21 years. That had to be an incredible feeling. Just kind of let everybody know what that does for a team's confidence to be able to get that victory as then you move on and play in that exciting next game.
Yeah, we've been repeating the 21 years, the whole season, even like since the end of last year. It's just 21 years. Let's end it, boys. And we finally did it. And it's a complete confidence boost, to think that you're the first team. There's been many great players, great teams, great coaches since the last win in 2004. But, just to know that we were finally the ones to do it, it brings a kind of a wave through the team. That's like, yeah, maybe, we could be the ones to even do better than the last team to win a state game in 2004. And I think they ended their season in the semifinals, which is the game we're going into next. So hopefully we can do even better than that and hopefully go all the way.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the semifinals a little bit. Obviously, it's kind of a quick turnaround. I mean, you play Saturday night and now you're playing tomorrow in Hamburg. You know, what's the preparation been like? What do you know about Harriton, and what's kind of that short preparation been like?
Yeah, we went straight into practice on Sunday right after the game. The starters did their recovery. Some of the subs that didn't get in got to run a little bit more, play a little bit more, stay sharp. We got our bodies fully recovered, and we went into practice today. We brought the tactics board out. We were looking at how they were going to play, how they've played in the past, and how we should prepare for it, how we've been preparing all season. We know Harriton is a very physical team. We know all the teams left, even on the other side of the bracket. It's going to come down to 1-2 goal games, maybe overtimes, penalties. At this point, it's every team has earned their spot here, and it's going to be who wants it the most, who has the best mentality out of everybody. We know Harriton's going to be super intense, physical. They have a lot of speed, a lot of great talent. So we have to respect that and go into the game with the same mentality that we have the whole season.
Nico, what's it been like in the school? Abington Heights has had really a fantastic fall sports season here, and there's been a lot of excitement, I would imagine, when you're in the school day in the hallways and stuff. And you're a big part of that now with the way that this team has played and to reach this level in the state playoffs. So I think it's got to be pretty cool to be a part of the Abington Heights community.
Yeah, it's amazing. We walk through the halls and the boys are walking together and people will be asking, when's our next game? We're going to pull up to that. We're going to, what's the weather going to be like so we can dress appropriately? Everybody wants to come support us. We're the only fall sport left at Abington. So everybody wants to see a great end to the season. Everybody wants to come support us and be a part of it. And we were talking to some people that were at the game on Saturday and they were saying it was an amazing experience. It was incredible. Everybody said that it was a great atmosphere and they want to be a part of it again.
Absolutely. I hope you told them to dress warm.
Yeah, I did tell him.
So Nico, obviously amazing that you guys advanced. Unfortunately, the girls did not, but I thought that, obviously they had a great season, and I believe your sister Bree, I thought she had a great game, honestly. How proud are you of Bree and that girls team this year?
Oh yeah, we're all very proud, During the whole season, we all made plans to go to every girls game that we possibly could. We all want to follow the teams that they post on the Barstool and the Blue Crew account. We all wanted to go support, be loud. So, it was disappointing to see an end to their season, but we're all very proud of them, very proud of how far they made it in states. And of course, like you said, I also think my sister had a great season. She doesn't play club too much, but just seeing her on the field play the same position I do for club, playing the same way I do, with the same passion, the same drive. And, she's improved a lot since she started playing when she was little. And I don't know. I think she had an amazing season. I'm very proud of her for what she could do and what the rest of the girls could do.
So, Nico, you've played at a very high level, as you've mentioned, with your club team, and you've played at a high level at Abington Heights, of course. This is the highest level you've played at in high school in terms of the magnitude of the game. How much are you looking forward to this, and what's it going to take for you and your teammates to come away with a win?
Yeah, like you said, this is the furthest that we've gone in states. This is the highest level I've played at for high school. We're playing teams from, Philly now. I think Conrad Weiser is from a little bit more southern. So we're playing the best of the best when it comes to 3A. We're all very prepared. I've been in this situation countless times with my club team, with any situation that I've been in for my whole career. When it comes to state finals, I've won 2 state cups with my club team in the past. So I'm hoping to bring the same kind of joy, the same feeling of a state win to school soccer now. And I think everybody else on the team is mirroring that same mentality when it comes to the game.
Absolutely. Nico, I'm just curious. I believe last year you were number 11 and this year you're number 10. Is there any sort of significance to the number change?
Somewhat, yeah. So number 11, I've worn my whole career. I went to Lehigh Valley United. I changed to number 5 because number 11 was taken. And then when it came to Abington, I chose number 11 again, since that's when I started at Abington. I wore number 11. And then last year, Justin Kim had the number. And I feel like in soccer, number 10 is just a number of the, I wouldn't say best player, but most influential, the person that is willing to put the team on their back. So I wanted to put on the number. I wanted to stand out and just be able to carry everybody and, bring everybody up, do what Justin did, what Rob Saunders did in my freshman year with his number 10. And all the greats have worn number 10, Maradona, Messi. So I want to put the number on. I want to bring glory to Abington Heights as a whole.
That's an awesome story, Nico. That's terrific.
Thank you.
You know what, to go with Messi, by the way, I saw in your athlete of the week interview you did with Scott, you're Argentinian, and I have to admit I have an aunt who lives in Brazil, so I'm sorry. I kind of root for Brazil, but tell me a little bit about what Messi means to you and your Argentinian heritage there.
It means a lot to me. I'm sitting in my room right now. I get to look around and I see, memorabilia, even from Argentina, that my family sent to me. It's the World Cup trophy, World Cup, the names of the players that won. It's like in Argentina, it's different. You could talk to my dad, anybody in my family. Soccer is just a different thing in Argentina. It's the one thing they get to say that they're the best in the world yet, best of the world in. They won the World Cup in 2022, of course, and it's just a completely different thing. It's like it feels like it's part of the culture. It's a religion to us. We wear the colors like extremely proud. We're very proud of where we come from, what, players like Messi, Maradona have done for the country. And simply it's just, it just seems like we're kicking a ball sometimes, but it means so much more than that.
Absolutely.
So Nico, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the World Cup coming to the United States here?
Yeah, it is in 2026.
How pumped up are you about that?
Super exciting. The final, they say, is going to be in MetLife. So, my whole family, the family I have here, we're all trying to save up. We know it's going to be expensive to go to the games. We all just want to see, I think Messi said that he might go, he might not, but we all want to see a last dance one more time.
Absolutely. That would be so cool. Nico, last thing from me, Joby, this may upset you, but Nico's going to Lehigh. I know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't reference it until after we were done with the interview. But no, that's fine institution, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Joby went to Lafayette. Yeah.
So Nico, I don't know how familiar you are yet with the rivalry, but when you get to campus, you will be indoctrinated very quickly with the intensity, and it carries over to every sport. Now, I played football at Lafayette, so obviously we have that game coming up here pretty soon. But I will tell you that Lafayette-Lehigh rivalry, it covers every sport in the Lehigh Valley. So you're going to be welcomed with open arms into what is very intense battles between those two schools.
Yeah, I've heard about it. The camp I was at, the coaches were already talking about the rivalry. They're already dissing Lafayette. So, I'm already familiar with it, and I love a good rivalry and a derby with a different school. So I'm excited.
So, Nico, were you also recruited by Lafayette, or was you pretty much just Lehigh?
There were obviously schools scouting me. I think Lafayette was one of them, since it's more of a local school, so it's easier for schools around here to recognize talent for clubs that play around here. But, Lehigh was one that I had my eye on, so they kind of stood out more to me.
Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck, and I don't often go down there for soccer matches, but I'll certainly be following you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, Nico, good luck tomorrow. You guys have already had an incredible season. Making it to the semifinals is an incredible accomplishment, but I know you guys want more. So, good luck. I'll see you down there and hope you make it to the final, man.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good luck, Nico. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Nico Bustos of Abington Heights Soccer.
Now, Joe, he's going to Lehigh, right? And the rivalry is very intense, as we just pointed out to him. And correct me if I'm wrong, because you're now the big soccer guy.
Yep.
Dunworth Tommy Clark is a standout soccer player at Lafayette. So, if you need a reason to go down to see the best rivalry of college sports,
ooh, I love this. Yeah.
You can take it in.
I love it.
See, Joe, people accuse me of only paying attention to football. I'll follow football every now and then.
I like it. I love it. You've got all the soccer info too. You're indoctrinated into your school, Joby. I love it.
Listen, Joe, the countdown is on.
It's right. That's right. Absolutely.
November 22nd, Lehigh's up to number 4 in the country.
There you go.
Still undefeated.
Oh,
and will be undefeated when the two teams clash at Fawcett this year.
That's exciting.
Joe, we don't need 22 inches of snow for me to shovel so I can get there.
Oh my God, please. Yeah, not another repeat of last year. Oh my God.
I've been carefully monitoring the weather, and it's incredible that we have this cold blast, and it's really kind of conjuring up the horrors that I remembered from last year where we just had that one weird day of nonstop snow.
Right.
And it happened to come the day before the Lafayette Lehigh game. I couldn't believe it. And so then when I went to the game, if you remember correctly, I left on Friday night late. Once I got through Northeast Pennsylvania and we're getting closer to the Lehigh Valley, it was just rain.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I shoveled 22 inches of snow to get out of my driveway.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's just brutal. Let's please not have another repeat of that.
No,
you deserve that time. You deserve that.
We'll see, but that's what the rivalry means to me. I've enjoyed that, and we have quite a few people going to Lehigh now, coming out of
that's true,
the area this year. So people are starting to kind of pile up on me here.
Yeah, absolutely, Joby. What I've got to say about when I say the atmosphere. I just can't imagine, in that sport, in soccer, next goal and your season, you're either advancing or it's over. I mean, it's crazy. And really the fans, we're going nuts, and it was just a great atmosphere. It was just kind of like a constant with every shot, like it was crazy. There were, people banging on the signage on the side of on the fence. It was making really loud noise, and it was an incredible atmosphere, and it would have, Abington Heights, the boys, they really, I don't want to say dominated, but they outshot Blue Mountain 24-7.
Yeah, sneak one by though, Joe.
What's that?
You got to sneak one by.
Exactly. See, that's the thing, and that's why you always tell me there's a reason they keep score. But they were in control of that game. They were putting on the most pressure, but Blue Mountain had a few counters that were a little scary, and they could not convert. Just an incredible job from Nico to Jack Luth ends up forcing a foul and a free kick, and Nico admitted himself it's a free kick he'd love to have back, but not even a minute later, he gets the ball from Lucas Samala and just buries it in the left side from 15 yards out and sets off the celebration. It was a great game. It was a great performance by this team, a team that hadn't won a state playoff game in 21 years. And, they're out there and they look like they've been there before. So it's a credit to, the team. Nico's their leader, but they as much as I would have loved to focus on, a teammate or a few teammates, he's not wrong when he says the entire team has just been great. They've got a great group of freshmen. They've got veterans, and, it's a great team. And I was happy for them that they ended up winning that game.
And another good effort by you, Joe. Cover everything. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I was happy because, how it goes. You go to these double headers, you have to be writing the story before, during, the second game, and it's kind of disappointing that, you have to be writing, but you have to do what you have to do to get, one of the stories in print. So the girls' story did make it into Sunday's print edition, but what was great is that the game went to overtime, so I had a chance to go down the field, get all the video that I needed, and yeah, it was a great evening, that's for sure. To speak on the girls a little bit, the Abington girls also had a great season, rebounding as well, like you had mentioned, Joby, with a semifinal loss last season in the districts to Crestwood. They came out with a ton of energy this entire postseason, and they were absolutely rolling. And yeah, this was just, when you get to this point, again, Joby, another thing you're telling me all the time, when you reach this point, everyone's a fantastic team. So
yeah, there's no pretenders out there.
No pretenders, exactly. So it was a battle with Radnor. Both teams had some opportunities. Radnor executed a perfect set piece off a corner, and that's your difference. Radnor wins 1-0, but it shouldn't take away anything that the girls accomplished this year. A few players that I hadn't really written about. We had talked about Bree with Nico. She had an excellent game, stopping a few runs down the other end from Radnor, and she's able to clear the ball out a few times to, playing excellent defense. And Brooklyn Yankow had a great game as well. I believe she's a freshman. She played great on defense and started off the offense on a few plays. Got a few runs down the right side. So, but obviously I'd be remiss if I didn't once again mention Lilia Calvert, one of the greatest athletes I've seen at least in my career here, which has been 10 years in the sports department. Just an incredible talent. And it was a pleasure covering someone like that. There've been great athletes over the years, and she's definitely one of them. Disappointing that they lost on Saturday, but a great season by them and a great career that will continue at Rutgers from Lilia Calvert.
Yeah, Joe, listen, I hate using this phrase because it's so overdone in sports today, but she is clearly one of, if not the best female soccer player we've had here in Northwest Pennsylvania. Her records and accomplishments speak for themselves. I don't have to dive into the numbers with anybody, but she's clearly going to be the all-time goal scoring leader in Lackawanna League history. And the big thing for me, Joe, is remember she's going to enroll at Rutgers in January.
Yep.
So, we want to wish her the very best of luck because we may not get a chance to talk with her or see her again for a couple of years here now until, you go out and cover a Rutgers game. So just a great career. I mean, you almost forget sometimes just how talented these athletes are in terms of the big picture.
Yep.
Okay. And, we always get so caught up in the moment. I think if we ever wanted to take a step back and say, boy, you now this year covering soccer and your predecessors who covered the beat, certainly, but fans should appreciate what they were able to witness for her 4 years, which included a trip to a state championship game as well, Joe. So just a fantastic athlete. And I only know her, familiar with her work from track and field, which she was outstanding there before she, chose to focus only on soccer. And, we want to wish her the very best of luck. She was terrific as a guest here on your show, Joe. And
yep.
I think she's always been a very gracious, top-level player. And certainly I think everyone at Abington Heights would agree. She's been a terrific teammate, and she's given Abington Heights fans and that sport a lot to be very proud of in the last 4 years.
Absolutely. And I appreciate a few of the times that I interviewed her, and when we interviewed her here, she was very open about her career, her high school career, and speaks very candidly. And, it made for some great interviews, honestly. And I appreciate that. We appreciate that. And Joby, to your point, she's playing at Rutgers, and Sophia Getter, star from Mid-Valley, is playing at Ohio State. I imagine they'll play each other.
I'm telling you, you're going to have to. I know
I might have to do some traveling.
Well, that may have to happen for you, Drew. You have your little calendar like I have, and
that's right.
Put things in perspective, and you'll be there.
Absolutely. So, Joby, I think that could probably wrap it up for for soccer talk. I could probably go.
All right, so let me do this, Joe, before I let you go.
Sure.
So we do have a volleyball team still playing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Berwick is still alive, and they'll be in action coming up here, and we're going to be following that team. And what a great job they've done there at Berwick with that program. Yeah. We want to wish the players there a lot of luck. I got a chance to see this group play last year. Again, I don't cover the Women's Valley Conference, but I got a chance to see them play last year. I thought they were extremely talented, and for them to knock off Abington Heights in the district final, which was Abington Heights was undefeated at the time, was certainly an indication of how talented this Berwick team is. So we want to wish them a lot of luck, and we want to congratulate the three teams that ended their seasons in the state playoffs. The Class 4A champion Delaware Valley had a very good performance against, again, you go down to that District 11, Joe, it's very intense volleyball, boys and girls. And it's always a challenge for us in that first round, but that takes nothing away from the great accomplishments of Delaware Valley at the 4A level, 16 straight District 2 championships. So congratulations to Carly May and the team. Mountain View lost in what was a very exciting 5-set match last week. Addison Kilmer, of course, we know and have chronicled her accomplishments throughout the course of the year. Here in the fall, we expect her to again kind of capture the headlines during the girls' basketball season, but a fantastic job in repeating as District 2 Class 1A champions. And Holy Redeemer, obviously one of the traditional powerhouse programs in the Wyoming Valley Conference and District 2. I think they've won the District 2 2A championship all but once in their history. So that is a great accomplishment for them as well. So all three teams, fantastic and exciting seasons in girls volleyball. And again, best of luck to Berwick.
Absolutely. And I from what Tom Fox has said, I guess that Holy Redeemer was another great atmosphere there out there in that game.
Joe, when you get a chance to go out to these other events, okay, and you're seeing now a little bit on the soccer level, and I know Scotty Walsh always enjoys getting out to these different sports venues and seeing these different teams and these different sports. Girls volleyball is extremely exciting. Like, I can remember when I took over the beat, gosh, going back, it's got to be 16 or 17 years now. Mm-hmm. And I can remember I went in with the idea of how difficult could this be? Because my perception was that girls volleyball it would look like something out of gym class.
Right.
I was wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. It is, these teams are extremely talented. They're very well coached. And if you watch, Joe, and I know sometimes you'd like to tune in late night when they have the Big Ten matches on the Big Ten Network.
Oh, yeah. Oh, seriously.
Those college games are just incredible. You watch the athleticism on display in women's volleyball. So, yeah, I've enjoyed covering girls volleyball. And again, we've had great success. So our teams here in District 2. So it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned those teams, because I forgot to mention that Wyoming Seminary is in the semifinals in the Class 1A boys soccer state tournament.
You're double dipping again, Joe?
That's right. So yeah, tomorrow I'll be in Hamburg at Hamburg High School. I got to be honest with you, I had no idea that was a place in Pennsylvania until yesterday, but I'll be there.
I'm not going to lie to you, Joe. That's about as far south as you can go.
I got you. Joe, but the only Hamburg I knew about was Germany. And
yeah. Let's not kid anybody. You know an awful lot about hamburgers. Okay?
That's true. I do know a lot. Well played, Joby. Well played. But yeah, I'll be there tomorrow for the soccer doubleheader. Wyoming Seminary will be playing Delco Christian, District 1 champ Delco Christian at 5 o'clock, and Abington will follow at 7 o'clock against Harriton. Joby, I know you're hard at work again this week, providing stories day to day of every team, it looks like, left in the high school.
Well, we've got five.
We've got five players.
Yeah, we've got 5 of the 6 from Lackawanna Football Conference still alive. Congratulations, Wilkes-Barre area. The Wolfpack Wolves keep Steve Bennett extremely busy this week.
That's right.
In Class 6A, and as they make their first venture into the state football playoffs in their history, of course, much shorter, abbreviated history than the other schools in District 2, but certainly want to wish Wilkes-Barre a great job by them, because they were able to avenge a loss
Yeah.
to Williamsport just 2 weeks ago, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
And capture that sub-regional championship. They were already the District 2 champion, and then they knocked off Williamsport to get to the state playoffs. So I want to wish them a lot of luck. They've got their hands full in the first round of the state playoffs there in Class 6A. But yeah, we have 5 teams. I can go right down in order, Joe, or you can ask me which team you want me to speak of first. I don't know. I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Actually, let me just touch briefly on the Delaware Valley Abington Heights game.
Since that was the best game of the weekend.
Ended up being the best game of the week. You know, it's Joby, it's always fun to cover a game when it's raining sideways. I don't know how you stayed on the sideline the whole time. But yeah, so Abington Heights comes out, they score the first 17 points of the game, and you know, Delaware Valley just plugs away. They're able to get 17 points in the second quarter, go into the half down 7. As we've mentioned before, Reagan Decker kicked a field goal to cut the deficit to 7 before the end of the half. And he kicked a field goal in the third quarter as well from 21 and 28 yards. And
in some very tricky weather, Joe.
I was going to say, I don't know how they both did it. At Abington Heights, Jack Hartshorn also kicked a field goal in the weather. I don't know how these kids do it. But obviously the player of the game, no surprise, was Mike Isolino, but it was his defensive play that saved the game for Delaware Valley. When Delaware Valley took a 3-point lead, Nick Bradley rolled out and tried to hit Noah Kale in the corner of the end zone, and Isolino was able to get a hand on the ball and force a turnover on downs, and then Devin Estevez took over on the final drive and was able to get Delaware Valley a few first downs, and they were able to run out the clock. Mike Isolino also had 133 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on 25 carries. And quietly, Colin McGarvey had a really nice game, 11 of 13, 168 yards and a touchdown as the quarterback. And, you know, this was just a great win for them. It was kind of a, you know, their season. They knew that, you know, they were up on Scranton Prep 31-7 in a game I know you're familiar with.
Oh, yes.
And they ended up losing. So they knew, hey, we could come back too. And they never panicked. They never, and they got the job done. It was a great win. Coach Keith Olsemer's birthday. Yeah, it was just a great win by them. And, you know, Joby, I have to tell you, I've never taken a hit on the sideline before until Friday.
Joe,
Took a hit. But I was good. I was okay.
I hope you were in the safety zone.
Absolutely. Listen, it was, unfortunately, these athletes are shiftier than me, and you know, there was one cut and tackled out of bounds, and yeah, I took a hit, but I was good.
As long as you recovered, Joe. I know that's very traumatic for a basketball player. So
we're not used to taking those hits, but you know, it happens and you move on. But yeah, it was a great game and a great win by DV.
So Joe, let me just kind of tag onto that game. You know, great performance by Delaware Valley. I spoke with Mike Isolino and Justin Estevez in the preseason when they came down for the preseason game face photo shoot, and we had a chance to speak for probably about 20-25 minutes. And both are seniors, and they explained to me just how determined they were to get the District 2 Class 5A championship this year because Abington Heights had beaten them last year. And at Delaware Valley, you are not supposed to lose in District 2 championship games. They had won 8 straight, and
yep.
You know, to have that streak end on their watch didn't sit very well for them. So, you know, I'm happy for those kids. They've been through a whole heck of a lot, Joe. They were 0-3 when they had that 31-7 lead over Scranton Prep, and we're looking like they were going to be headed in the right direction. And then the bottom just fell out, and Scranton Prep, with a great effort there, came back and won that game. And then Delaware Valley fought its way back to getting itself into a position where it could win the Lackawanna Football Conference Division I title, and lost the lead against North Pocono, and eventually lost the game in overtime, which cost them that championship. And then they have a heck of a battle with Pittston area in the semifinal 7-6. And when I saw your tweets coming across X, it was just incredible when they were down, 24-7 in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I thought, boy. And I've been around a lot of high school games, and I don't care what level you play at or what, size of school you're at or anything like that. You fall behind by that margin in the second quarter, it's very easy to pack your gear.
Absolutely.
Especially in those weather conditions.
Yeah.
And so real credit to Delaware Valley and its staff there. But also, Joe, you have to say what a great performance and a great career that the players at Abington Heights had, especially Nick Bradley, the quarterback who came back from an injury this year, to have a very, very good season. And the record-setting performances both he and Gavin Andrews had as the wide receiver. So kudos to them on what was a fabulous career and a great back-to-back 2 years by the Abington Heights Comets.
Absolutely, Joby. And, as far as the other games, they were all double-digit victories, Joby.
Yeah, so here's what we're going to get. I'll talk first about Scranton Prep, because this is the one that even today at the gym, people were kind of coming up to me, and as they often do, and ask, what the heck happened there? Because Berwick, of course, we came into the game 11-0.
Yeah.
And I tried to prepare everybody ahead of that game that, one, I knew Prep was going to win. I don't want to say that I'm a prognosticator with that, but I just thought Scranton Prep really had a fantastic team. And I think the Lackawanna Football Conference Division I was extremely talented, top to bottom this year. And, you look at Scranton Prep's losses, taking 2 non-league games out of it, okay? Lost on opening night to Valley View without Will McPartland, okay?
Yep.
And then lost, as you mentioned, Jack Hartshorn takes a game-winning field goal for Abington Heights in that victory. And then you had the game against North Pocono where Cole West hits Chase Zimmerman in the last couple of seconds on fourth down to beat them, okay? And after Scranton Prep had beaten the Wyoming area 42-0 in the semifinal, I really thought that Prep should have been the favorite in this game against Berwick. And Scranton Prep did show just how talented a team it is. Will McPartland's one of the best players in the state. I don't care what anybody tells me.
Yeah.
He came back from a torn ACL, and he has really gotten himself back to a very high level. But also, Joe, the maturation of the offensive and defensive fronts for Scranton Prep has been just incredible, and has been really the key to their success here late in the season, and certainly in these 2 football games. And 5 straight years, Scranton Prep has won the Class 3A championship, and quite frankly, Joe, none of those 5 games have been very close.
Yeah.
So Scranton Prep continues on, and Terry Gallagher and his staff done a great job there. In Class 2A, Joe, again, it was a rematch of a game earlier this year, which I covered, Lakeland and Dunmore. And I will say this, Joe, a lot of hype going into this game because of the rivalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a chance to read my preview story, you saw a little bit of got caught up on some of the data, some of the numbers, the historical relevance, and every time these 2 teams play, the tradition of championships that both programs have is just incredible, certainly for small schools in the state, not just in the area. And, there was a lot of intrigue coming into this game. And I thought, well, if David Nanowitz plays well, I think Lakeland has a real shot to beat Dunmore again. And I thought Dunmore looked very impressive against Riverside. So it was going to be a tight game, but lo and behold, David Nanowitz did play well. He played exceptionally. He has done that all season. I would argue he's probably the best quarterback in the Lackawanna Football Conference this year. Remember, Nick Bradley missed a month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Lakeland, and Joe, really, for Lakeland, how about that turnaround?
Yeah.
3 years ago, very impressive, best team in the area, number 1 ranked after a big victory over Scranton Prep in week 1. Very talented team in 2022. and then kind of had a rebuild, right? 1-9, 3-8, and now this year 11-1. So congratulations to Lakeland, and they'll have their hands full in this first state playoff game. Lansdale Catholic is an extremely talented team, but a handful of college prospects on that roster. So we'll see about that. But certainly congratulations to them. And again, same thing for Dunmore. They had a great season, had some tough losses early, lost to Riverside in overtime, lost to Lackawanna Trail on a botched punt snap for a safety, and lost to Lakeland, and of course lost to Lakeland in the championship game. But a great season for Dunmore. And what more can we say about Lackawanna Trail, Joe?
I know.
Isaac Ryan, my heavens.
Yeah.
He's run for almost 1,000 yards in the last 3 weeks.
Seriously, it's like 300. Like you look at the numbers, and it's almost like, it's it's become commonplace, which is insane.
We're at halftime, and I saw Tom Fox's tweet on it that he was up to around 246 yards at halftime. And I sent him a message back with the league and the LIA and LFC records for yards rushing in a season. That in no way, shape, or form, but I think he was going to challenge that last week. But he sure as heck did. He fell about 25, 26 yards short.
Yeah.
But that's his second 300-yard rushing game in the last 3 weeks and his third on the year. So, and you remember last year, Joe, in the state playoffs, he had 305 yards rushing. So
yep.
He is an impressive football player. He's exciting to watch. Lackawanna Trail 41-14 over Tri-Valley in that sub-regional championship game, and I expect this will be a very entertaining game against Line Mountain. They're going to be ranked 3 and 4, I think, in the state coming into that game, and looking forward to seeing that on Saturday, 1 o'clock. And finally, Joe, North Pocono, 12-0 for only the second time in program history, first time since 1991. Cole West was fantastic. Evan Wolf, again, one of these guys who's been there for 4 years, terrific on both sides of the football. The offensive and defensive lines were just overpowering. Chase Zimmerman, he's that guy who, I hate using the phrase game manager, but he really just does everything really at a calm, relaxed approach at the quarterback position. He doesn't turn the football over. He had some explosive plays in this one, and everybody really made a contribution. Josiah Gray had a big touchdown, around 183 yards rushing, but just very impressed with the overall play of North Pocono and winning the District 2 Class 4A championship, first one since 2016. It's been a great season for North Pocono, and I hope that all of these young players from all of the championship teams can look back and say, boy, it was all well worth it, because even though the weather was very miserable on Friday night, Joe,
yep,
they celebrated and they stuck it out and they enjoyed every second of it. So I'm real happy for all those kids in North Pocono.
Absolutely. No, it was a great weekend for the Lackawanna Football Conference, that's for sure. And Joby, you had mentioned, I had mentioned, look at Lackawanna, the Lackawanna Football Conference Division 1. I mean, Delaware Valley, North Pocono, Scranton Prep. They're all, even Abington Heights as well.
Yeah, don't forget Abington Heights when they lost by 3 to Delaware Valley, right? So yeah, just terrific division, very deep, talented, and So Joe, as you know, we had David Nanowitz on the program here as an athlete. Okay, and David's dad and I were teammates from when we were 9 years old in junior football, and I had a great opportunity. We were up at the Montel Country Club last year. We were there because one of my friends was inducted into Lakeland's Hall of Fame that night at the basketball game. And young David, who was a basketball player as well, he stopped in and he and I and his dad had a chance to kind of chat. And we were talking about the old days and we were reflecting back on when we were players at Lakeland. And you could just see young David kind of grasp onto us talking with Bruce Springsteen's Glory Days playing in the background, and it kind of really resonated with him that, boy, that's neat that these two guys here we are in our mid-50s, and we can get together and we're talking about plays that probably only we remember, okay? and games and having the opportunity to play in front of 6,000-7,000 people. And he was getting you could just almost see him taking it all in. And now he can have that experience with his teammates 25, 30 years down the road, right?
Yeah.
And that same story can be replayed or retold from all of the kids who experience these championships. And I know we're kind of in an era where we kind of poo-poo people who look back on their memories from high school. You always keep telling, oh, you're like Al Bundy from Married with Children. I scored 4 touchdowns for Polk High. But listen, these kids and these athletes make terrific sacrifices for those memories.
Yep.
And I feel real good for a kid like David Nanowitz who had to sit through that, listening to us about the old days. But now he knows, 30 years down the road, he's going to have an opportunity to do that with his teammates, maybe at the Montel Country Club, maybe somewhere else. And that, again, I think everybody at the various schools, I know one of the neat experiences for the North Pocono kids, especially for Cole West and Evan Wolf and Matt Laborani, their fathers played on the 1991 North Pocono team that went 12-0. So you could almost see the tears and the joy from the families themselves as it was passed down a generation, what they were able to experience when they went 12-0, and now their sons have that same experience. So it was a cool weekend just to be a part of high school football, and I hope the kids do at some point later on in life look back on it and be real proud of what they were able to accomplish this weekend.
Absolutely. It's pretty special, right? It's just, it's pretty great. And so now, Joby, we're moving on, like you said, in soccer, it's the next round of states, and football, it's the first round of states. Like I said, I will be at Hamburg High School covering the soccer doubleheader, Wyoming Seminary at 5 and Abington Heights at 7. And then, we'll see how that shakes out, Joby, before I figure out what I'll be covering on football-wise.
Yeah, we're going to be logging some miles on Friday and Saturday. The schedule's out. And Joe, allow me, please, indulge me for one more minute, folks.
Please. Yeah.
At the PIAA site selections, there are things in place, okay? And we have some schools that are involved in the state playoffs for the first time in a long time, okay? And I know what tends to happen is the first thing you say is, well, how does a team that's 12-0 have to play at a team that's 8-4? Okay, these brackets are locked in for 2 years, and they flip the home teams. And the misconception in football is it's neutral sites. It's not for the first round.
Right.
It's only a neutral site if the team or district that is hosting does not have a facility with artificial turf or one that meets the standards required to host a PIAA event.
Right.
Or in the case of Delaware Valley and Hollidaysburg and Wilkes-Barre area and State College and Hollidaysburg are in District 6, which is considered in the western half of the state.
Right.
They just happen to be playing in the eastern half because to even the bracket out.
Right.
So those games come halfway into a neutral site so that you don't have a team traveling from, State College to Delaware Valley. Okay. Clearly that would be an advantage in a state playoff game. But otherwise, the team on the top of the bracket gets the home game and a true home game. Okay.
Right.
Unless they have grass field or they only have stands on one side or, there are certain requirements you have to fulfill to host a PIAA event, okay?
Right.
So I just want everybody to say there's no hanky-panky going on behind the scenes at the PIAA, okay? I know everybody wants to jump on them like they're Congress, but I have to throw the example out there. We forget because nobody was paying attention other than the fans at Valley View probably. Last year, Pope John Paul II played at Valley View.
Right.
Okay. That school had to travel 2.5 hours. This time, the District 2 team has to travel. So it just so happens that we have different champions the 2 years, right?
Exactly.
So hang in there. And we're going to be doing some traveling, Joe, in the next couple of days.
Absolutely.
You especially.
Yeah.
You expect more. I would pack a coffee in my car if I were you.
Oh, you know it. Absolutely. Absolutely, I am. And about every jacket that I own, too, I think. It's going to be cool.
Do you remember me bringing this up on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, how the weather fell off a cliff?
Yeah. Seriously. Yes. It really has.
I was out there at North Pocono, and I swear to you, Joe, I check the weather all day, and I check it every hour on the hour because I want to be prepared.
Right.
And all day Friday, the weather forecast had no rain.
Same thing. Exactly, Joby. Exactly.
And I pull into the parking lot of North Pocono, and it's downpour.
Exactly.
And then I get to go to my phone. Okay, it's going to be raining for the next hour and a half. No kidding.
Like, great.
I stayed out there, Joe.
I don't know how you did it. Seriously, I stayed for the first half and I had to abandon it. It started raining sideways and I was just like, I can't. It's the whole stat keeping, as you know. It's just there's no, nothing you can do about it. I don't know.
Joe, at one point I tore my top sheet because again, what I was trying to do was write,
yeah,
and then put it underneath my coat,
right,
to keep it dry as best I could,
right.
And then my everything was tearing and crinkly, and you're trying to avoid the water drops with your pen because as soon as that gets wet, you're finished.
Yep, exactly.
And then you're trying to take video highlights. It was incredible.
Exactly, exactly. Oh man, that was great work by you to stay on the sideline, Kira. I don't know how you did it. I gave up.
Well, we did the best we could.
Exactly, that's all we could do. So it should be another great week as we wind down the fall sports season here. And yeah, so
let me mention this also. Winter sports practice begins Friday, I believe.
Sure does. Sure does. So
for those keeping track at home,
we keep moving. So follow us, the Times-Tribune.com/sports. Follow us on X. We'll all be tweeting from whatever games we're at Sports TT. Times-Tribune Sports on Instagram and Facebook. Follow Joby's Times-Tribune page. Joby Fawcett, the Times-Tribune. He shares
2.2 million, by the way, Joe.
Wow. That's amazing.
Last 28 days, 2.2 million views.
Joby, that's amazing. That's fantastic.
We thank the fans.
We thank the fans. Absolutely. And yeah, we'll be back here next week on the podcast. Thank you to Nico Bustos for joining us to start off the show. Good luck to all the teams, Joby. And as always, thank you, sir, for joining me for this hour of fun.
Thanks for having me, Joe. It's a good break from the grind.
Absolutely.